Welcome back to Music, Rankings, Reviews, and more. And today, this is another first on the channel. This is not exactly a review, but just a discussion, overall thoughts on a recent concert we went to. These videos will not occur very often as going to concerts is quite expensive, and even then, there's still concerts that aren't expensive, but we just don't know the artist or wouldn't want to go to. So it's
Yeah,
like an occurrence that doesn't happen all the time. But when we do go to concerts together or even separate, maybe, I don't know,
yeah.
we'll probably just do our overall thoughts on it because bands definitely can sound very different live than in studio. We've definitely understood that. Like sometimes they sound way better live. For example, like 21 Pilots for me is usually a better live band than studio, and I love their
hmm
studio work, but
Yeah.
live they're like super great. And then you have other bands that probably aren't as good live. Like I'm sure Chong the Nomad is not as obnoxious in the studio as she is live with those like
Oh, I don't know about
ear
that,
raping.
but
Like I mean, I
probably.
don't I no, I'm just saying live because the bass boost
Yeah,
is
the
so loud
bass.
and it's like in
Oh,
your face.
I know you could
Yeah,
like
but
feel it, like, and like that's.
it was like vibrating
Oh,
your entire body. That's why
yeah.
it was terrible.
It was so bad.
So like even if it sounded good, it still was terrible because it
Yeah.
just like hurt to listen to. But that's besides the point. Point is that it's just nice to compare bands live to their studio work. And while there is some bias included, like for the fact that this I guess I should introduce what bands we're actually talking about. We are talking about the Megadeth concert, which featured two other bands named ONI and Bullet for My Valentine. You probably know the second one. They're quite popular.
Yeah.
Um, but the point is that there is a bit of bias in reviewing this as obviously
Yeah.
The Megadeth guys are old and kind of, just well old, yeah. They're older now. So it's not bias, it's just like it's not like the full on experience of them in their prime, whereas like a lot of the bands that like I
Mm.
get to see for the most part are in their prime still and like they are young still for the most
Yeah.
part. They're not like always old. So,
Yeah.
you know,
But yeah, the way I think of it is just like I'm happy I got to see like a lot of bands like we saw the Who. They're way out of their
yeah.
prime. I don't care. It
They're
was
one
fun. It
I
was
mean,
great. Who
well, also,
cares? You know?
how many kids do you think in 20 years are going to get to see that they saw one of the most legendary rock acts?
True.
Like, I highly
True.
doubt that. So,
Yeah.
I at least you get to say that. So that's
Like
pretty
no
cool, I
one should
think.
complain about like artists being old and like not being as good. If they're still making music, still touring, just like appreciate that. Just the fact like they're still making music or touring, whatever. Awesome, you know?
You don't have to
It's
like
not
the music per
yeah.
se, but just like
Like at least
appreciate the
respect
fact
the
that they
like
still have the drive
yeah,
to
because
do
like it's
that.
not gonna last forever. Like Journey's been around 50 years. I mean, especially with all like the feuding and all that, they're not gonna
There's no
last
way they're
that
gonna
much
last
longer.
another. There's no way they're lasting more than 10 years.
Yeah, and
That's
especially
what I'm
they all
guessing.
get older. Like they're not gonna be performing in their 80s. Like come on, they're already getting up to like their upper 70s almost. So yeah,
Low 70s,
yeah,
late
low
60s
70s.
actually for most of them too.
Yeah,
Um, Especially because like Neil started out when he was a teenager in like
yeah,
Santana and Journey.
yeah.
So yeah,
But
but
like
that's besides the
yeah,
point.
just be happy and they still do stuff.
Yeah. So basically, how this format will work is we'll talk about the band's chronological order, which first was Oni performing, which I'm pretty sure they had the shortest set list of the three groups, which
Yeah,
makes sense as the set list for each band got increasingly longer. And then you had Bullet for My Valentine in the middle of the two, which had a bigger set list, but obviously
yeah.
smaller than Megadeth. And then Megadeth obviously had not actually a ton of songs, only 12. I've
I
seen
think it was
concerts where
13.
they have,
But
yeah, but my
a
point
lot of them are
is,
long. That's why.
well, I've seen concerts with double the songs
That's
but similar
true.
runtime because metal
Yeah,
bands love being like long song bands, that's what you
yeah,
get. Even if they're not being like prog metal, it's like still gonna be long songs.
yeah,
Um so yeah, we'll review them in that order. Basically just talk about anything and everything, the vocals,
yeah.
the instrumentals, the mixing, anything that may have happened while they were performing, mosh pit,
Oh,
and
we'll get
some
into that.
yeah, and some other stuff. So just really our overall thoughts. And also we'll probably, talk about like the band in case people don't know them. And
Yeah,
well, just a brief overview because like I'm not going to pretend to be experts on the first two bands.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, we'll talk about that and we will basically just say if we've like actually heard them prior to the concert because I know there's at least one band for me I definitely hadn't heard before
Oh
this
yeah,
concert. And the second, there may be another one I hadn't heard, but I
hmm
wouldn't know. So,
yeah. Anyways, we'll get into that.
mhm.
So starting off, so the first band to play was Oni. So they're basically a modern metalcore band. I honestly had never heard of them. They're pretty obscure. I couldn't find that much about them online. They have like I think 2 albums out. Latest one came out last year, so that's kind of interesting. But they're pretty obscure. So I guess it's good for them for going on this tour. You know, maybe they get a bit more well known because I've never heard of them. So yeah. And anyways, they played 7 songs. The set list was about half an hour, so pretty short, but it's not bad. And I'll just like give some a few of my thoughts. I thought instrumentals were pretty good. Honestly, vocals not bad, but I couldn't understand a single thing he was saying. I don't know what they were singing about, but
Yeah, that's fair.
that goes with a lot of metal life for me. So it's whatever, And yeah, and like terms of stage presence, not like anything super interesting like sets or just like it's just kind of like they play the music. It's a short set.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nick's
so
mom, Nick, one of
yeah,
our friends, his mom also made that comment. Her literally first reaction to that, seeing that Oni band or whatever, was like the guy had no stage presence, which
yeah,
is a fair point. It's kind of
yeah.
true.
I mean,
So
they're also not a very big band, and like the singer, like he's like less athletic, obviously, than some people then like that move around a ton, and obviously it's fine. Like not everyone has to be like jumping around and whatever crazy
David Lee
stuff.
Roth moments, yeah.
Yeah, or like I'll say about this later, but like some people who like jump up and down with like playing their guitar, like that's some real. Ooh, I don't know how they do that, but anyways, yeah, like pretty much all this concert had in like terms of like stage, it's just like lights and like some spotlights pretty much, and they just had like a banner that said Oni. At least this is kind of unrelated, but at least they had like a banner that said their name. Anyways, I got the concert we went to in November, so the Mysterines like they literally said Bad Flower in the background for some reason, which is like at
Yeah,
least
it did.
yeah. I guess I don't know why, but anyways, like yeah, at least they had their own band name up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Not bad, not great, but yeah,
So my thoughts on this, I thought that they were pretty good for being, like you said, a relatively unknown group.
yeah.
Not even that known, I'm pretty sure, in the metal scheme of
No, I don't think
things,
so.
and especially not in like the modern popular music
No.
scheme at all. However, I do think that they definitely had some talent. Like
Yeah.
you said, I do agree on some of the points that you made about, not being able to understand the vocals exactly, but I do think that is a thing with most metal singers
Oh
ever,
yeah.
except maybe Ozzy Osbourne because he actually is like a rock singer, but in a metal band, in my
Pretty much.
opinion.
Yeah.
Um, However, I do think the guy definitely had vocal talent. I can tell that he wasn't just growl. I mean, he did growl, but like not the entire
Yeah.
time. He could
True.
definitely had some vocal chops and some pipes. Like you could definitely tell he could sing. It just like it wasn't the most clear, and you couldn't like fully understand. Like he could sing clearly. Like it wasn't like just growling and rap the whole time, which I appreciated
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of metal singers outside of the big names kind of rely way too much on that aspect of their voice. And it kind of takes away from the performance, especially when you get to the fact that I feel like almost every metal band that I have heard or seen live, the instrumentals are always almost always louder than the
Oh
vocals, which
yeah.
isn't a bad
True.
thing because that's kind of why you go to a metal concert is the
True.
instrumentals. You don't go to hear the amazing, beautiful vocals or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, if you call growling beautiful, then you're just weird. I'm sorry, but like, if it's your thing, cool, but it's not beautiful sounding.
Yeah.
Point is, though, is that I did appreciate it from a vocal standpoint, especially for a metal vocalist. I didn't think he was insanely crazy. Definitely didn't have like a ton of stage presence.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think like any of the three bands had like out of this world stage presence. Like I wasn't like,
True.
oh my God, none of them stood out as amazing frontmen to me, which I didn't
Yeah.
expect them to because like one, I didn't know like two of them like by name or anything. Um, I'm pretty sure the guy that fronted this band's name is Jake Oni, so it's like
Yeah.
his last name. So it's kind of like Van Halen naming their Eddie Van Halen and Alex naming their band Van Halen. Jake Oni naming it
Yeah.
after his last name. They're a Canadian band, and like you said, they are classified as metalcore, but they're also classified as prog metal, which I could definitely hear because they
Yeah.
definitely had some nice
Makes
little
sense.
sections in there where they'd go into calmer stuff, and it was nice until they brought back the thunder and the drums and everything like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Definitely wasn't like in love with the band after it. Like, would I check their stuff
Yeah,
out? Sure. I mean, I already know enough bands, but like I'm not against
yeah,
finding new music. So, um, I thought they were interesting enough to warrant checking out, and I didn't despise them or anything like that. So I thought it was pretty cool. Um, I didn't know them, obviously, like I think I
yeah,
already said that, but I didn't know them. I didn't know them at all. And I don't think I've ever heard their name prior to the concert. So that was pretty cool. Um, and that kind of leads us into our second group and just like some other stuff here. You have like they took like a not a ton of intermission time, but it was enough. And then one of our friends at the concert came over and he sat with us for the rest of the concert, so that was fun. Um,
yeah,
yeah. So so yeah, that was our experience for act number one, Oni, and there are two more acts we still have to get through, so I'll let Christoph start off with that.
yeah. No, no,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just also gonna talk about some of the stuff that we noted as a concert experience. There was definitely some interesting people at the concert. I mean, it is Everett, so like it's not Seattle worthy type of interesting, but I feel like the people that go to Seattle concerts, even though it is in Seattle, are not like as weird. I definitely did not expect there to be like a bunch of for example, the four main examples I noticed was one, there was a lot of people, kids and adults both climbing over chairs to get to their sections. Don't know why they couldn't just say, "Excuse me."
yeah.
Especially with all the open chairs that
I
were in our
know.
section too. A lot of tickets unbought. And then number two, you have the people in the mosh pit. Like, really?
That was
They
so
were literally
funny.
like just doing like donut. They were running in
I
circles.
know, and they're like
They weren't
slamming
even
into
like
each
trying.
other. It
They
was
were like
crazy.
basically like jumping up like football players do when they score a touchdown,
I
but like
know,
several times. And I'm like, how are you not tired by now?
I
Third,
know.
you have like the people that were smoking marijuana, like which you
Oh
can't even
yeah,
do in
that
there.
was
And like
bad.
I'm sure they got kicked out because eventually the smell like kind of vanished after a while.
Yeah,
But I just don't know why you'd even try that because even if no one sees you, people can smell it. They'll eventually trace it back to you
I
and they'll
know.
kick you out of the
Why did
arena.
they do that?
Especially because you probably paid money to get in there. So
I
why are you
know.
like
It's
and then number
stupid.
four, this came a lot later than any of those three experiences, but we were walking out and there's this dude with literally his shirt off, and we're pretty sure that he was drunk because he just looked out of his
Most
mind.
likely.
I
Yeah.
don't know why he was walking around like that. It was a little whack or very wacky. Um, it was funny. I mean, just because like you don't
Yeah.
always see that at a concert. I mean, sometimes for outdoor concerts, people do that intentionally, so it's normal. But like we
Yeah,
were
that
in
was
an
weird.
indoor arena and like yeah, we were in an indoor arena
Yeah.
and nobody else had their shirt off.
I know.
Like
It was like
everybody
10
else
p.m.
was
too.
like,
Like it's cold outside. Like
yeah,
what are you doing?
yeah, exactly. And they had like the doors open so all the wind was
I
coming through
know.
and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I also say when we were walking back from the concert, there was someone was wearing like a Megadeth shirt, or no, sorry, a Metallica shirt, and then a bunch of people were joking, just like saying, "Oh, we should go beat them up because they're a traitor or something," because like the whole Metallica, Dave Mustaine, Megadeth
I mean, if
drama.
anything, the irony is Dave Mustaine would be the traitor in that case because
True, I
he's the one that
know,
left the band. It's not like James Hetfield
I
left to
know.
go
I mean,
join Megadeth or something.
obviously they were joking. But I just found that kind of funny and random. It's like, that they
Yeah,
were Metallica to Megadeth.
I almost wanted to yell Metallica better as a joke,
I
but I
know.
wasn't joking. I actually like Metallica a lot more as a whole
Yeah.
than Megadeth,
And
but
like,
like still,
yeah.
it's not really the time and the place.
And,
So
all right. So the second group started around like 7:45 p.m. I think, something around then. Yeah. So Bullet for My Valentine. They played 10 songs. It was definitely longer than Oni. That's
for
for
sure.
sure. I mean, wait, um, yeah, it was about a little bit less than an hour or so. And yeah, 10 songs. I had heard their name before, but I never really
Oh yeah,
listened to them or
same.
anything. And I did enjoy it. I think I definitely liked it more than you or Nick. I didn't love it, but I thought it was enjoyable. I did really like the instruments. I thought they were fun. Vocals again, I couldn't really
Yikes.
understand them that much. Some of the times it was kind of edgy screaming kind of, which I don't know. It is what it is. I could understand the lyrics a little bit better, but there wasn't like a major difference or anything. Like I thought the vocals were decent in some parts, but then also some parts it was basically like screaming. So yeah, I mean they're kind of like a bit emo, so that kind of makes sense to be honest.
I mean, kind of's an understatement. Like,
Yeah, they're pretty emo
yeah.
actually. I mean their logo, like just like the scratches, is like I should have expected that honestly. But I mean, personally, I do like emo music, and I do think it's like it's interesting. It's like emo and like metal mix, so it's like less like some emo bands are a lot of them are more like alternative or pop punk, but it's more on like the metal side. So it is different. I yeah, it's kind of interesting. Again, nothing stage presence. He did move around more than like Oni. The mostly just like different colored lights and spotlights. Nothing too crazy. Um, yeah, I think the guitarists were jumping around a little bit, but that was a bit more with Megadeth. But yeah, I did like it, but nothing too crazy, nothing too great. So yeah,
Nice. Um, so yeah, I don't it's not gonna be a complete reversal of the spectrum here. However, I didn't really care for that, and I honestly do think that's an understatement because and that was, I think, most noticed when they said, "Guys, we only have 15 minutes left in our set show." And I don't know if they played longer than 15 minutes
I'm
or I
pretty sure
really
they
just
did.
wanted their Okay, okay, good. I didn't know if they actually did or not, or I just really wanted their music to end because I was not having it. They sounded to me they had like the music style of MCR, but like worse, in my opinion.
True.
But like the attitude of you're some people are gonna hate me if you're a fan. Limp Bizkit, like
That's
let's be
true. That's
real.
true.
Like the way they talked to fans in between
Yeah.
songs and tracks, it just felt very Fred Durst
I mean,
kind of
I'm
esque, like
pretty
very cringe, and
yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't really having it.
I'm pretty sure they
So
were
stage
they were at
presence.
least like related to new metal. I think Nick said something. I mean, they were playing like they were literally playing new metal before they came on. They played Limp
True.
Bizkit.
I mean, Nick said they're like
So
a combination of new metal and emo, which I just named
I'd
two
say that
bands in those
yeah,
genres,
they're
so
basically
it's kind
like
of true.
kind of new metal, kind of heavy metal, and kind of emo, kind of mixed. So yeah,
Yeah, some other things, the instrumentals weren't always terrible, but I wasn't always loving them. Again, as someone who pays the most attention to vocals and puts the most emphasis on that, I don't think that I should, but like I just can't help it because
I
like
mean it's fair.
You
Yeah,
know, you know, as someone who like likes to sing and does actually sing, like it just I naturally pay attention to that the most. And so if the vocals I don't like them, not saying that they're objectively bad or anything, because obviously people have different tastes. But if I don't
yeah,
like them, then I'm not gonna like your band, even if your instrumentals are like godly or something. However, there is an exception of that, and that'll be the third act. Um,
yeah.
but I will say, like, it wasn't all around terrible, but I just felt like a lot of the songs sounded kind of similar-ish, and I really wasn't having it because it went on for too long. And like, if you're a really big fan of the band, you were probably like, "That felt so short. Please go longer." But to someone who didn't really care for the performance, it just felt really long to me. And I was waiting for it to
Yeah.
end, and then I thought they'd be over because they'd silence, and then they just go boom, 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 and like just randomly start. And I was like, "Oh!" Like I was visibly annoyed. I was like, "Can we get this over with already?" I just want to hear Megadeth, which
Yeah.
I never thought I'd say because I'm not like the hugest Megadeth fan, but like I like some of their songs and stuff. I was just like, and I would have rather heard the first band again or Megadeth. Like I just really
Yeah.
wanted to hear like it's like Brad tasting music while hearing AJR and then saying, "Please, I just want to listen to anything else right now." That's literally how I
Yeah.
felt. It wasn't the worst thing ever, of course, but like I just really felt like I wanted to listen to something else. Their music did not engage me. If anything, it repelled me because the vocals and sometimes the instrumentals, along with like the stage presence, just doesn't make for something that I find to be very good. That's all. If you like it, that's cool. More power to you, but like I just did not care for it. Like it sounded like shit to me. I'm sorry if
Hmm.
you liked it though. That's what I'll say.
Okay, so yeah, moving on. Anyways, third and final, and obviously main act, most popular, most well known. Anyways, it's almost always the case. Like the most popular band is well the
The best.
true, and like the main act. The opening bands are less popular. You go from Oni, by far least popular, both from my Valentine, quite a bit more popular than Megadeth, more popular. So that's usually how it
Yeah.
goes. But yeah, Megadeth, they played 13 songs, which isn't a lot, but A lot of the songs were pretty long, as you know, metal likes to do. They like to add a ton of guitar solos and all that stuff in there. Cool, I guess. I think it went about like a bit over an hour, maybe like an hour 15 minutes. So it wasn't super long, but I thought it was pretty cool. Definitely quite an improvement in terms of like stage. They had like five different like big screens. They had like a big screen in the middle, and they had like some on the sides, and it had some like really cool graphics, lots of lights. Then like the again like spotlights and changing colors and stuff. And like I really like the different stuff on screen to like match the songs, you know. And then like they kind of moved around. They I think they were some of the guitarists were like jumping around a bit playing guitar. That's cool. David Stain, honestly, I couldn't even see his face most of the time. I swear, like I
I
could
don't
just see
think
his
I don't
hair.
think I saw his face
I
like
know. I mean,
at
that's
once.
kind of interesting, I guess. And then, well, vocals better, but like again, it's Megadeth, so like I definitely don't love his vocals or anything. But I think I did fine, and like by far my favorite part is just the instrumentals. I thought guitar playing was really really good. Drumming also really good. Like the drum, that's a really cool drum set, lots of drums and stuff. And yeah, the guitar playing I thought worked really well, especially with like the multiple, three guitarists like blending together. Overall, it was pretty cool, and they played a good variety of songs. They only played one from their latest album, but I guess they wanted to mix it up more. That's fine. They played three from Rust in Peace, which is my favorite Megadeth album, and they played my favorite songs from there, and those are also my favorite Megadeth songs. So that's cool. But yeah, I think that's about it. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I was a bit surprised, I guess, because again, I'm not super huge into Megadeth. I'm like a casual fan. I like some of their stuff. I don't go out of my way to listen to them much, but yeah, it was pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, so for me, I definitely agree with that last point you made about being a casual fan. Definitely applies to me. Again, I'm not gonna go out of
Yeah,
my way to listen to them. But again, we did get free tickets to this concert as,
yeah,
your dad won like the free tickets for the
yeah,
veterans giveaway thing, which is cool, awesome,
yeah.
great. Would I have seen them for money? No, probably not. Just because again,
True.
concerts are hell of expensive,
Oh yeah,
not because I dislike Megadeth or think they're mediocre or something like that. That's not a reason
yeah.
I wouldn't go and see them. Just because concerts are
In
expensive. So you
general,
really got to pick and
they're too
choose.
expensive.
Unless you're awesome and get $28 tickets to Nothing But Thieves, which like great
Yeah,
band, one of my favorites, very cheap. So
yeah. I mean,
I get to and it's in Denver, so I get to
yeah,
brag
that is
about
cool.
that.
But I feel like the cheapest you can ever get tickets is like around $30, which is like for concerts it's really
Yeah,
good. But if
that's
you,
pretty much
I
true.
mean, but even if you think about it, with like even if like a minimum of like $30 plus like multiple tickets for different people going plus fees, Ticketmaster, why do you have so many fees? I swear they literally have like a monopoly of the industry. I don't need to get into that, but like man, it's too much. I mean, I don't personally pay for it, so like I can't say it directly affects me, but obviously like eventually I would want to go to my own concerts and stuff, and I just like it's too expensive.
Right.
But that's
So
like the cool
getting
thing of getting free
back,
tickets. But yeah, yeah, go on.
so yeah, I feel like a lot of the same stuff that you said, I will also rejuvenate as well. I'll probably bring it up. But again, I thought for mixing, they definitely were the best. They weren't mind-blowing live mixing, but I just thought
Yeah,
Oni had some so-so mixing and Bullet for My Valentine's mixing sounded like shit to me. I mean, I really
mm,
just didn't care for them. Again, yeah, no. Second worst live act I've seen. I don't think anything's ever gonna beat Chong the Nomad unless I somehow go
no,
to a
that
worse
yeah,
concert.
Cardi B
Because
concert maybe.
I try to avoid seeing bad artists in my personal opinion. And yeah,
Yeah,
that we don't need to get into that. That was a special act for sure.
yeah,
Um, but anyway, so I thought that the mixing live was definitely the best, although albeit not mind blowing or anything like that.
true.
Vocals, I would say were maybe better than Bullets, but I actually think Oni had the best vocals like overall,
That's
despite not
fair.
being able to understand like just for vocal abilities and actually be able to carry a tune. Like Dave Mustaine, I'll say this. He does not repel me as a singer. However, he cannot do a vocal run. A vocal run is like when you go like kind of like
Oh
that.
yeah,
I was doing it as like a joke in that way. Like obviously that's not like how I would do it or how most people would, but like my point is like he just kind of like talks as he sings in a way. Like it's not like his talking voice is like everyone else's, of course, but it's like he says, but who's buying? Or like
True.
why don't like or something like that. I don't know. It's like it's not a
Yeah.
repelling voice to me, but it's definitely nothing crazy, nothing I'd go crazy over ever. Um, Also, like they're all kind of getting up there in age, of course. You have to bring that up, and
True.
that also is not going to improve their vocals. Age does not
Of
improve your
course.
vocals almost never. In any cases, does that make sense? The other thing I thought that they were the best at of the three acts, outside of the mixing, um,
Yeah.
was the instrumentals, of course, the guitar playing. You had three guitarists, a bassist, and you had a really good drummer, in my opinion. Definitely impressed me quite a bit. I try to pay attention to other things other than just vocals live because, well, one for, giving my thoughts and review purposes, and two, because it's more interesting if I'm focusing on the band as a whole rather than just like one element of them.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty good overall as a concert. I probably would have liked it more if Bullet for My Valentine wasn't there, but there was actually people there that became, I'm pretty sure, specifically just to see them, which you could definitely tell because they definitely dress
True.
different.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely have like that emo look to say the least.
yeah. Um, so for Megadeth, I definitely think that like they'd probably be better to see in like the 80s or 90s, of course,
Of
but like
course.
then again, like you can't really bag on them too much, I guess, because like it sounded good for what it was in terms of like instrumentals, and that's the reason you go to see Megadeth.
Yeah.
No
For
one's like,
sure.
I really want to hear Dave Mustaine's absolutely gorgeous
No.
voice. Like no one,
No.
no.
It's the
Like no
instrumentals
one's
you go
ever.
there
You
for.
don't go there. You don't go there for that. Like it's just a fact. Everybody knows it. Even biggest Megadeth fans won't tell you
Yeah.
that they're in love with Dave's voice. I mean, unless you can't hear for shit. But like,
Yeah.
sorry. So yeah, at least Dave does not repel me as a singer, mainly because I just find it to be mostly mediocre. It doesn't like hurt my ears to listen to, but it's not like anything that special, of course. Um, but yeah, overall, I thought it was a pretty good concert, pretty good show. I thought the bands outside of Bullet for My Valentine were pretty good. Um, so those are my overall thoughts. Yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say on that.
I think that's about it, but it was a pretty good concert, I'd say for sure.
Yeah, definitely not one of my favorites I've been to. I like
Yeah.
if I was ranking concerts by a combination of the bands present at each concert, not just the main act, they'd probably rank as one of my lowest. They wouldn't be the lowest because I've unfortunately had the pleasure of seeing Kids Bop in 2016, but
And Chong the Nomad, so.
well, no, I'm saying as a whole, I
Oh, as a
still would
whole,
prefer
yeah.
Death Cab and Sean because
Oh,
Death Cab is
true.
just like so great live and like they're one
True.
of my favorite bands. And like I definitely prefer them to any of the three bands that were there. So that's my point.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying concerts as a whole definitely wasn't one of my favorites, but it wasn't my least favorite
It
either.
was good.
Overall, I thought it was a positive experience. I didn't like, yeah, it wasn't a mind-blowing concert, but that's okay because I didn't
Yeah.
expect it to be. I had low expectations going in. So,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
glad to go. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, first concert of 2023 for me. So
Yep, me too. Yeah, so
there you
that's it.
go.
Make sure to like and subscribe. If we go to any other concerts together and anything else, we'll probably do videos on it. Something we'll have other upcoming videos in the future. So yeah, like and subscribe and see you in the next video.
So yeah, last thing that I wanted to talk about is just an update on album reviews scheduled for sometime in May, probably after the albums get released. So the first date for albums most noticeably is the 5th of May, which is a Friday, as most of these albums come out on a Friday. Um, Probably there are some that I have marked down here, but the one that we will probably be reviewing is the new, probably fabulous, I assure you, Ed Sheeran
Oh
album.
no.
Yay.
Yeah.
I mean, I should be scared because his album is literally called Minus, but it's literally just a minus symbol.
It's another
It's a
math
very,
album. What's new?
I mean, it's very basic, which kind of complements Ed Sheeran's like music. So
Basicness, yeah.
yeah. So there probably won't be any other albums that we'll both be reviewing on the
Yeah.
5th, but there is another one the week following that on the 12th that we'll most likely review, I think. It's called The Album. Wow,
Oh
creative
yeah.
name. By the Jonas Brothers. Definitely should be an interesting review, especially because their release dates do not happen like all that often.
Yeah,
but I don't know what to expect from this entire project. Although I have heard the singles,
I
and
did
I didn't
not,
hate
wasn't a
them.
fan.
I wasn't a fan. They were literally called chicken, or no, they were
Not
called
chicken, just Waffle
Waffle
House and
House and
wings.
Wing. That's gotta be some of the most random song titles ever.
I
Like that,
know.
how does that relate to anything?
Well,
Okay.
you eat wings
And
at Waffle
then,
House.
right. And then the week after, the 19th, there's definitely a couple more. We'll probably review the new Def Leppard album.
Oh no. Yeah.
Not exactly new, but it is basically a orchestral, classical more version of, or it's supposed to be anyway, but they literally
Yeah.
just like
They copy and
copied and
pasted the
pasted.
vocals.
They, yeah, to like I felt, yeah,
Yeah, that's
there,
certainly something.
there's only one single out, and I didn't really care for it much because it felt like the orchestra was trying so hard to be good, but Def Leppard just wasn't putting in effort at all because they literally
Because they
just copied and
copy and
pasted.
pasted like no, yeah, like oh really?
No shit, it's not gonna work. Like, it doesn't sound bad or anything. It just doesn't
Yeah,
fit the
just
music.
weird.
But we'll probably review that. Also, some other albums that are coming out on the 19th that we could review as well. There's technically a new studio release from Yes, but I don't know how interesting that would be
I
to
don't listen to them,
review.
so
Yeah, there's also another one that I actually expect to be one of my favorite albums of the year now, which I wasn't actually expecting it to be coming into this year because I didn't even know about it like in January, right? But
right.
yes, but I actually heard the two singles and they're really, really damn good. So I actually expect if the other
Hmm.
stuff is this could be one of my favorite albums of 2023. So Walk Around the Moon from Dave Matthews Band is also going to be
Hmm.
coming out that day. I think that'd be
Nice.
pretty interesting, especially because their style is very unique and like none of their songs
True.
sound like the same thing. I definitely think that could make for an interesting review. And it would probably make for one of our few positive reviews of May because let's be real. Most of the albums that we're reviewing in this month, I don't expect to be that good. If they are, I will
True.
not give them a low grade. But like, come on, let's be real. Ed Sheeran, Jonas Brothers, and Def Leppard, which is usually good, but like this new album is probably not going to be that good. I'm going to predict that right now.
Yeah.
So, but hey, I'm going to keep an open mind to all three of those projects. So I guess we'll probably review four albums in May, which is a good amount. That's like one every week, I think. So, we'll also probably do some other videos if anything interesting happens or we feel like discussing in between them. So that is our release schedule for the next month, most likely.
Yeah. And we do have some more in our worst songs series, and then after that, top album series, which are not out yet,
Yeah,
but they will be
those are
in
just kind
sometime.
of getting released like very what's the word for it? Every so often.
Yeah.
So they're not like getting released like every couple of days.
Yeah.
It's like every like 2 weeks at this point because they're just like
Yeah,
very
I know.
backlogged. They're very
I
backlogged
know.
into the catalog. So
Yeah, I have a lot of other stuff to do and add in, just
yeah,
a lot of
so
stuff. But yeah.
definitely shouldn't be a shortage of videos in May, both with the videos we have backlogged that were recorded quite a bit of time
Yeah.
ago, and then also the new album reviews, which there should be three or possibly four, hopefully four of.
Yeah.
I can't wait to review those, even if I don't like them. I love reviewing music,
Yeah.
so should be interesting to see what we give those for sure.
I think so.
So that was just an update on a release schedule. Thank you for watching this video, and peace out.